There is a room inside your mind that you have never entered. It has 4 doors, each one leading to a different dimension of your psyche. These doors are not locked. They have always been open, waiting. But most people walk past them their entire lives, never noticing, never wondering what lies beyond. Today, you will choose one. And that choice will reveal something about you that even you may not fully understand yet. Since the dawn of human consciousness, doorways have held sacred meaning. They are thresholds between worlds, boundaries between the known and the unknown, portals that separate who we are from who we might become. In dreams, a door often appears at the moment of transformation, inviting the dreamer to step beyond the familiar self and discover what has been hidden in shadow. The unconscious speaks to us not in words but in images, and the door is one of its oldest languages. It whispers of possibility, of mystery, of the courage required to cross from one state of being into another. In Jungian psychology, the psyche is not a single unified thing. It is a vast inner landscape composed of many territories, each with its own climate, its own inhabitants, its own rules. Some regions are bright and well-traveled. The parts of ourselves we show to the world, the roles we play, the identities we claim. But beyond those sunlit fields lie darker forests, deeper waters, caverns where forgotten memories sleep and unlived potentials wait in silence. These hidden territories are not enemies. They are teachers. And the only way to meet them is to open a door and step through. Today, you stand before 4 doors. Each one represents a different pathway into the unconscious, a different archetype, a different way your soul seeks to express itself in this moment of your life. The door you are drawn to is not random. It is a reflection of the energy that is moving through you right now, the part of your inner world that is calling for your attention, asking to be seen, understood, and integrated. You do not need to think too hard. Let your intuition guide you. Let your first instinct speak, because that instinct is the voice of your deeper self, the part of you that knows what you need before your conscious mind can name it. In the pinned comment below, you will find time codes for each door, allowing you to skip directly to the interpretation of your choice. But if you're someone who values depth, who seeks not just answers but understanding, stay with us through the entire journey. And if this resonates with you, subscribe to this channel, because here we walk together through the hidden corridors of the soul, learning to read the symbols that the unconscious leaves like breadcrumbs along the path. Sometimes a single choice, like the door that calls to you, can illuminate more about your inner world than years of surface-level introspection ever could.
If you were drawn to the door of stone, heavy, ancient, weathered by time, then your soul is speaking the language of resilience. You are someone who understands that life is not always gentle, that strength is not built in comfort, but forged in the fires of challenge and hardship. The stone door does not open easily. It requires effort, patience, and a willingness to push against resistance. And that tells us something profound about you. You do not shy away from difficulty. You meet it head-on, knowing that the greatest transformations often come through the greatest trials. Stone has been revered across cultures as a symbol of permanence, a foundation, of the eternal ground upon which all else is built. In the language of archetypes, the stone door corresponds to what Jung called the archetype of the builder or the guardian, the part of the psyche that seeks to create something lasting, something that can withstand the erosions of time. You are not interested in fleeting pleasures or shallow victories. You want to build a life that matters, a legacy that endures, relationships that are rooted deeply enough to survive the storms. Your choice reveals a person who values stability, responsibility, and integrity. You are the one others turn to in times of crisis because you do not panic, you do not crumble. You have learned, perhaps through painful experience, that survival is not about avoiding hardship, but about developing the inner strength to carry it. You understand that some doors in life do not open until you have proven you are ready to walk through them. And so you wait, you work, you persist. There is a quiet nobility in this, a kind of courage that does not announce itself, but simply endures. Yet every archetype carries a shadow, and the shadow of the stone door is rigidity. Sometimes your strength can become stubbornness. Sometimes your endurance can turn into an unwillingness to let go, even when holding on causes more pain than release. You may find yourself carrying burdens that are no longer yours to carry, building walls when what you truly need is a window. The stone that protects can also imprison, and the soul that refuses to bend may eventually break under its own weight. In relationships, you are loyal to the point of sacrifice. When you commit fully, with a seriousness that can be both reassuring and overwhelming. You seek partners who understand that love is not just passion, but partnership, not just feeling, but action. You want someone who will build with you, who will stand beside you when the ground shakes. But sometimes your emotional guardedness can make it hard for others to reach you. You protect your vulnerability so fiercely that even those who love you may feel locked out. Remember, strength does not mean never opening the door. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone in. Professionally, the stone door speaks of mastery through discipline. You thrive in environments that reward consistency, expertise, and long-term vision. You are not chasing quick success or viral fame. You are building something that will last. Whether in business, craftsmanship, education, or any field that requires patience and skill, you bring a level of dedication that others admire, even if they cannot match it. You are the foundation upon which great things are built. But here is what the stone door wants you to remember. Strength is not the absence of softness. True resilience includes the ability to adapt, to flow, to sometimes let the river carve the rock rather than resisting its current. The most enduring structures are not the ones that never bend, but the ones that know when to yield. So honor your strength, but do not let it harden into isolation. Let others see the cracks in your armor, because those cracks are where the light gets in. And when you allow yourself to be both strong and soft, unshakable and open, you become not just a guardian of your own soul, but a guide for others who are still learning how to stand.
If your soul was drawn to the door of water, shimmering, fluid, reflecting light in endless patterns, then you are someone who moves through life with adaptability and emotional intelligence. Water does not force its way through obstacles. It finds a path around them, over them, through them. It changes shape to fit the container, yet never loses its essence. Your choice reveals a personality that understands the power of yielding, of intuition, of allowing life to unfold rather than trying to control every outcome. In the archetypal language of the psyche, the water door corresponds to the healer, or the empath, the part of the self that feels deeply, that senses the emotional currents beneath the surface of things. You are someone who navigates the world not just through logic, but through feeling, through a kind of inner knowing that cannot always be explained in words. You pick up on subtle energies, unspoken tensions, the moods of a room, the hidden sorrows of a friend. This sensitivity is your gift, but it can also be your burden.
because feeling everything means carrying the weight of emotions that are not always your own. Your strength lies in your ability to connect, to empathize, to create emotional safety for others. People are drawn to you because you make them feel seen, heard, understood in ways that few others can. You do not judge, you do not rush to fix, you simply hold space, like water holds whatever is placed within it, without resistance, without rejection. In a world that often values hardness and certainty, you offer something rare and precious, the permission to be human, to be vulnerable, to be in process. Yet the shadow of the water door is the risk of losing yourself in the currents of others. Because you feel so deeply, you may absorb the emotions of those around you, taking on their pain, their anxieties, their unresolved conflicts as if they were your own. You may find it difficult to set boundaries, fearing that saying no will make you seem cold or uncaring. But water without boundaries becomes a flood, and a soul that gives endlessly without replenishing itself eventually runs dry. Your challenge is to learn that compassion does not require self-sacrifice, that you can care for others without drowning in their needs. In relationships, you seek depth and emotional authenticity. You cannot thrive in shallow connections or relationships built on pretense. You need honesty, vulnerability, the willingness to dive beneath the surface and explore what lies in the depths. When you love with your whole being, flowing into the spaces of another person's heart with a tenderness that can be almost overwhelming. But you must be careful not to lose your own shape in the process. The most beautiful relationships are not the ones where two people merge into one, but the ones where two whole beings flow together, each retaining their essence while creating something new. Professionally, the water door suggests a gift for healing, creativity, and communication. You may be drawn to psychology, counseling, the arts, writing, or any field where emotional intelligence and intuition are valued. You have the ability to translate feeling into form, to give voice to the unspeakable, to help others navigate their own inner waters. You are at your best when you are not confined by rigid structures, but allowed to move, to adapt, to follow the natural rhythm of your creative process. But here is the wisdom the water door offers. Flow does not mean aimlessness. Even rivers have direction. Even oceans have tides. You do not need to be carried by every current that comes your way. You can choose your course. You can honor your sensitivity without being ruled by it. And when you learn to flow with intention, when you allow yourself to be both soft and powerful, yielding and purposeful, you become a force of nature, not destructive, but transformative, the kind of presence that nourishes everything it touches.
If you felt an immediate pull toward the door of fire, blazing, alive, radiating heat and light, then your soul is speaking the language of passion, creation, and transformation. Fire is the element of change, the force that consumes what no longer serves and clears the ground for new growth. To choose the fire door is to acknowledge that you are not someone who can live a small, quiet, contained life. You need intensity. You need meaning. You need to feel the heat of existence coursing through your veins, reminding you that you are alive. In Jungian terms, the fire door corresponds to the archetype of the creator or the warrior, the part of the psyche that refuses to accept mediocrity, that demands more from life and from itself. You are driven by a hunger for experience, for expression, for impact. You do not want to simply exist. You want to burn brightly, to leave a mark, to transform yourself and the world around you through the sheer force of your will and vision. There is something wild in you, something untamed, and you know it. And rather than fear it, you honor it. Your strength is your ability to inspire and energize others. You walk into a room and the temperature changes. People feel your presence before you speak. There is a magnetism to you, a kind of aliveness that draws others out of their numbness and reminds them what it feels like to truly care about something. You are not afraid of conflict, not afraid of intensity, not afraid to say what needs to be said even when it makes others uncomfortable. You understand that growth requires heat, that transformation is rarely gentle, and that sometimes the only way forward is to burn away what has been holding you back. But the shadow of the fire door is the risk of burning out or burning others. Fire, when uncontrolled, becomes destructive. Your passion can turn into aggression. Your intensity can overwhelm those who are not prepared for it. You may find yourself moving so fast, chasing so many visions that you exhaust yourself and everyone around you. Or you may become addicted to the heat of conflict, mistaking drama for depth, chaos for creativity. The fire that illuminates can also consume, and a soul that burns too brightly without rest will eventually collapse into ash. In relationships, you need someone who can match your intensity without trying to extinguish it. You cannot be with someone who wants you to be smaller, quieter, more controlled. You need a partner who understands that your fire is not anger, it is life force. It is the energy that drives you to create, to dream, to fight for what matters. But you must also learn that love is not only passion, it is also patience. It is the quiet moments between the flames, the stillness that allows connection to deepen. If you burn too hot all the time, you will never know the intimacy that comes from simply being, without performing, without proving, without needing to be extraordinary. Professionally, the fire door speaks of leadership, innovation, and bold action. You are not meant to follow someone else's vision. You are meant to create your own. Whether in entrepreneurship, the arts, activism, or any field that requires courage and originality, you bring a level of commitment that can move mountains. You are willing to take risks that others avoid, to speak truths that others fear, to walk into the unknown with nothing but your conviction to guide you. And that is your power. But remember, even fire needs fuel. Even the brightest flame needs to rest and gather strength before it can burn again. Here is what the fire door wants you to understand. Transformation is not the same as destruction. You do not need to burn everything down to create something new. Sometimes the most powerful change happens slowly, steadily, with intention rather than explosion. So honor your fire, but learn to tend it wisely. Let it warm rather than scorch. Let it illuminate rather than blind. And when you master the art of burning with purpose, when you become the kind of fire that transforms rather than consume, you become unstoppable. Not because you are the loudest or the fastest, but because you are aligned with the deepest truth of your being. And that kind of fire never goes out.
If you were drawn to the door of air, translucent, almost invisible, shimmering with light and possibility, then your soul speaks the language of thought, vision, and transcendence. Air is the element of the mind, of ideas, of the invisible forces that shape reality before it takes form. To choose the air door is to reveal that you are someone who lives not just in the world of matter, but in the world of potential. Someone who sees beyond what is and imagines what could be. In the archetypal realm, the air door corresponds to the visionary or the sage, the part of the psyche that seeks understanding, clarity, and perspective. You are someone who needs space, both physically and mentally, You cannot thrive in environments that are cluttered, chaotic, or overly emotional. You need room to think, to breathe, to see the patterns that others miss. Your mind is your greatest tool, and you use it not just to solve problems, but to explore possibilities, to question assumptions, to reach toward truths that exist beyond the surface of ordinary perception. Your strength lies in your ability to see the big picture. While others are lost in the details, you are mapping the entire landscape. You understand systems, connections, the way one idea leads to another, the way seemingly unrelated things can reveal hidden order when viewed from the right angle. You are a natural strategist, a planner, a thinker who can hold multiple perspectives at once without losing your center. This gives you a kind of freedom that others envy, the freedom to move through life without being weighed down by the heaviness of emotion or the rigidity of convention. Yet the shadow of the air door is the risk of disconnection. Because you live so much in your mind, you may struggle to ground yourself in your body, in your emotions, in the messy, unpredictable reality of human relationships. You may find yourself observing life from a distance rather than participating in it, analyzing feelings rather than feeling them, understanding people without truly connecting with them. The air that lifts you above the chaos can also isolate you from the warmth of genuine intimacy, and a soul that lives only in thought eventually becomes cold, detached, alone. In relationships, you need intellectual stimulation and mutual respect. You cannot be with someone who does not challenge your mind, who does not engage with ideas, who expects you to be emotionally available in ways that feel foreign to your nature. But you must also learn that love is not just understanding, it is presence. It is the willingness to come down from the heights of abstraction and sit with another person in their pain, their joy, their simple human need to be seen. If you remain forever in the realm of ideas, you will never know the richness of connection that comes from being fully, vulnerably, messily human. Professionally, the air door speaks of innovation, communication, and intellectual leadership. You thrive in environments that value creativity, strategic thinking, and the ability to see what others cannot. Whether in technology, philosophy, science, education, or any field that requires vision and clarity, you bring a perspective that is both expansive and precise. You are the one who asks the questions no one else thinks to ask, who challenges the status quo, not out of rebellion, but out of a genuine desire to find better ways of being and doing. But here is the lesson the air door offers. Vision without action is just a dream. Ideas without embodiment remain abstract, untested, ultimately meaningless. You do not need to choose between the mind and the world. You need to learn how to bridge them, how to take the insights you gather in the heights and bring them down to earth, where they can take root and grow. And when you master that alchemy, when you become someone who can think clearly and act decisively, who can envision the future and build it with your own hands, you become not just a dreamer, but a creator. Not just a thinker, but a force of change.
Now that you have walked through the door that called to you, take a moment to step back and see the larger pattern. The 4 doors, stone, water, fire, and air, are not separate paths. There are 4 dimensions of a single journey, 4 aspects of the same consciousness, 4 ways the soul expresses itself as it moves through the world. Together, they form what Jung called the QUATERNITY, the symbolic representation of wholeness, the mandala of the complete self. The door of stone teaches us endurance.
the strength to stand firm when everything around us is crumbling. The door of water teaches us flow, the wisdom to adapt, to feel, to move with rather than against the currents of life. The door of fire teaches us transformation, the courage to burn away what no longer serves and step into the heat of our own becoming. And the door of air teaches us vision, the clarity to see beyond the immediate, to think, to plan, to imagine new possibilities. We are not just one of these energies, we are all of them, cycling through different seasons of our lives, different moments of our journey. There are times when we need the solidity of stone, when we must dig deep and hold our ground. There are times when we need the fluidity of water, when we must let go and trust the process. There are times when we need the intensity of fire, when we must take bold action and risk everything for what we believe in. And there are times when we need the spaciousness of air, when we must step back, reflect, and see the bigger picture before moving forward. The door you chose today is not your only door. It is simply the one that is open for you right now, the one your unconscious is asking you to walk through, the energy that is calling for your attention in this particular moment of your life. But as you grow, as you integrate, as you become more whole, you will learn to move between all four doors with grace and intention. You will know when to be solid and when to flow, when to burn and when to breathe. And that is the art of individuation, the journey toward becoming fully, authentically, completely yourself.
So here you are, standing on the other side of the door you chose, carrying with you a new understanding of the energy that is moving through your life right now. But before you return to the world outside, before you close this video and move on to the next task, the next distraction, the next moment of forgetting, pause. Take a breath. Let this awareness settle into your body, into your bones, into the quiet center of your being where all true knowing lives. Ask yourself, what part of me has been asking to be seen? What door have I been avoiding? What energy have I been suppressing because I thought it was too much, too intense, too vulnerable, too strange? The unconscious does not speak to us in direct commands. It speaks in whispers, in symbols, in the sudden pull you felt toward one door over another. And when you learn to listen to those whispers, when you learn to trust the language of images and archetypes, you begin to access a wisdom that goes far deeper than anything your conscious mind could calculate or control. You were not the door you walked through. You are the one who chose it. You are the consciousness that stands behind all the roles you play, all the energies you embody, all the versions of yourself that you present to the world. And the more you learn to observe yourself with curiosity rather than judgment, the more you come to recognize that you are not fixed, not limited, not defined by any single pattern or tendency. You are vast. You are fluid. You are a living process of becoming. If this journey resonated with you, if you felt something shift inside you as you read these words, then stay with us. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because this is what we do here. We explore the hidden landscapes of the soul. We speak the forgotten language of symbols. We walk together through the territories of the unconscious, learning to read the signs, to trust the images, to honor the wisdom that lives beneath the surface of everyday awareness. Because the truth is, most people go through their entire lives without ever asking who they really are, beneath the masks, beneath the roles, beneath the stories they have been told about themselves. They walk past the doors every single day, never noticing, never wondering, never daring to turn the handle and step through. But you are different. You are here. You chose to take this journey. And that choice, small as it may seem, is the beginning of something profound. Close your eyes one more time. Take another breath. And as you do, imagine that you are standing in that room again, the room with the 4 doors. But this time, instead of choosing one, you simply stand in the center, aware of all 4, honoring each one for the gift it brings, the lesson it teaches, the energy it holds. You do not need to walk through every door today. You just need to know that they are there, waiting, always open, always available, whenever you are ready to explore a new dimension of your being. The door of stone is there when you need strength. The door of water is there when you need flow. The door of fire is there when you need transformation. And the door of air is there when you need vision. And behind all 4 doors, in the quiet center where you stand, is the truth that has been waiting for you all along. You are not any single door. You are the room itself. You are the space that holds all possibilities. You are the consciousness that chooses, that moves, that grows, that becomes. And when you remember that, when you truly understand it, not just intellectually, but in the depths of your soul, everything changes. You stop trying to be one thing. You stop trying to fit into a single identity, a single role, a single definition of who you are supposed to be. You become fluid, adaptable, whole. You become someone who can be strong without being rigid, soft without being weak, passionate without being destructive, clear without being cold. That is the gift of the 4 doors. That is the wisdom of the unconscious. That is the journey of individuation. And it is a journey that never truly ends, because there is always another door, another layer, another dimension of yourself waiting to be discovered. So keep walking, keep exploring, keep choosing, and know that wherever this path leads you, you are exactly where you need to be.